A croquembouche is a traditional French dessert. The name comes from the French words croque and bouche, meaning crunch in the mouth. A croquembouche consists of conical tower profiteroles filled with creme patisserie, covered in spun sugar, toffee, chocolate, sugar-coated nuts, and edible flowers, and any other decorations you can think of.
Hello viewers, today I'll be making a video on how to successfully create a croquembouche dessert. I will show you tips and tricks alongside recipes I have trialled to provide you with the best possible outcome. Let's start. Now, first tip before we even start, I've had to look over my recipes and make sure the amount of cream patisserie matches the amount of profiteroles. So I've had to quadruple my cream patisserie recipe just so it fits the amount of profiteroles. When it comes to the boiling point, we need to tip this mixture in with starch straight away, and we are constantly now stirring so it doesn't stick to the bottom and start burning. Now, for the best results, we need to store this mixture in the fridge overnight so that it'll be successful for the croquembouche in the end result. The thicker the cream patisserie mixture is, the easier it'll be and the less it'll run out of your profiteroles when you're assembling the actual croquembouche. See the consistency it is now? This will now thicken and become really hard and easy to pipe into the piping bag. Tip 3. When preparing for the profiterole mixture, Jan Kerner from TAFE, that I had my trial day with, suggested that we chop the butter up into small squares so that when we boil it in the pan, it doesn't, like the butter is melted by the time the water starts boiling, so it's all boiling at the same time. And by chopping it up into smaller pieces, the heat will melt it quicker and at the same time as the water and the sugar. Tip 4. When we're adding our eggs to the choux pastry, we add them one at a time, and when we stir them in, it's supposed to be a snot consistency. It literally looks like you're stirring in snot. And then you wait until we've combined that one egg and then you add the other egg. We must do this 20 times. Give or take a few eggs depending on the consistency of the pastry. You have to watch that. So first, I'll show you the first egg. It slips off the spoon and looks like a bit like snot. So you have to make sure that every egg is combined before you put in the next one. No yolk or no egg white left. And that will make your pastry very successful. Tip 5. The consistency that is most successful looks like this. We're on our last egg now. When you get to right consistency, always add one more egg. So if you have a look now while I'm stirring, you'll be able to see what it looks like. So our last egg, it's a very smooth consistency, but it would still hold together when you pipe it through. Tip 6. To have the most successful baking experience, instead of using baking paper, we use paper and margarine. Once we have applied the margarine, and a light coating like so, make sure you cover the whole thing, including the little sides, just in case the profiteroles expand and touch the edges. We don't want them sticking. Like that, so just a thin coat that covers the whole thing. Should still see smears on it, don't have it so thin that you don't see any until it's very good. So we do that, and then we grab plain flour and we sprinkle a light amount over like that. And then what we do is So we lightly tap it around, so then it creates a thin layer, so it kind of looks like this over the tray, and then you just pipe the feta rolls, the chew pastry, straight onto that. Tip 7. When piping your pastry onto your trays, I have found throughout my trial and all my research that using a round tipped piping top, that it will come out most successful and the balls will come out rounder, making it easy to construct and stick onto the cone. Also, when you're putting your pastry into your bag, fold your edges over so it gives you a clean entry into there, and then you can fold them up after and twist it, leaving it closed to the end so no pastry can slip out. Tip 8. For the most successful piping, make sure you keep the size of all of your profiteroles the same when you pipe them onto the tray, same size. So, and also when you finish piping them, hold it there and get a friend or someone that can assist you to cut it off so it has an even cut line and the top of the profiterole will be rounded off. Like that. Tip 9. When you're piping them on, make sure you leave the same gap in between each one so they have room to spread. Evenly spaced, and we've left enough room. We haven't done another row of 3, we've just done 2 because it fits perfectly in the gap. They should be evenly sized like this and all have the same kind of appearance. Tip 9. To have successful profiteroles, make sure once you've placed them in the oven, you don't open the oven door for at least 10 minutes. After that you can turn them, keep checking them, but don't open them, otherwise they will collapse and you have shrunken in profiteroles. Tip 10. Now that the profiteroles are ready, this is what they should look like when they are ready to come out. They should be lightly browned on top, round, have risen, and should not cave in when you touch them. Crispy on the outside, but they'll be hollowish on the inside, like that. Tip 11. If you're going to leave the profiteroles overnight like I have, cover them with a light tea towel instead of using a container. On my trial day, I left them overnight in a container and they sagged, went all soggy and caved in because the moisture was trapped in the container. So make sure you use a tea towel and they keep nice and crispy as well as soft. Tip 12. When making your toffee, get a small glass with some plain water, hot or cold, doesn't matter, and use a pastry brush, dip in the water, and to stop the toffee sticking to the sides or burning, go around the edge and make sure you get all the sugar particles off. And that stops from sticking to the side and burning. Tip 13. When taking a hot saucepan full of toffee that is done off the stove, make sure you put it on a metal gridded baking tray like this instead of wooden, because when you place it on the wooden, we've found from an earlier toffee batch that it's kept the heat in the saucepan and kept cooking the toffee and it ended up burning. So put it on a metal one, lets the heat out the bottom and cools it down slowly so it goes thick enough to dip your profiteroles in. Tip 14. When you're dipping in your profiteroles, make sure that you just do the top first. So grab a profiterole, dip it in top first with your fingernails cutting into the side. Make sure there's not too much excess toffee and put it down like that. We will do the bottom and stick it straight onto there once all of the tops are dry.
On my final croquembouche, I decided to use spun sugar as a decorative element. I also used toffee on the profiteroles as it allowed me to apply them to the croquembouche cone successfully. I discovered through my research that using creme patisserie to fill profiteroles would be more authentic to the original recipes. As an added bonus, I found that this was quite an enjoyable combination with the toffee. It was found from surveys and my own research that more people enjoy non-edible aesthetics such as flowers, rather than the usual sugar-coated nuts and the marzipan decorations. The arrangement of flowers and spun sugar is a very popular look, as seen in this video. The two interlace in a successful bond of delicacy and beauty. My croquembouche was very successful in that it followed the original recipe and was enjoyed thoroughly by the consumers, who gave me positive feedback on the taste, aesthetics and creativity in the design of extravagant dessert.